not attempt to adjust your dial. Ba-da-bum-bum-bum. It's your boy Big Vern. This is App Stupid, the fastest growing sports and entertainment show on these YouTube streets. You're welcome. Holla at us. Big thing. So, in our last segment, we talked about the bombshell news. Mike Woodson from Indiana, he has agreed to step down at the end of the season. Where does that leave the Hoosiers? What happens to the coaching staff, the strength conditioning coaches, the kids who he recruited to come there? I mean, they're going to clean house. And if I'm a Hoosier fan, like I am, I don't know where we go from here. So, from the world of college basketball, we go to the association and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they end up getting a great trade nobody is talking about. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they entered the trade deadline with 3 clear goals: upgrade the wing position, get under the tax cap, and sustain a great roster. Now, I was skeptical whether they would accomplish all of this in one move, but the acquisition of DeAndre Hunter nailed all 3 targets within one legitimate championship aspiration. The Cavs have helped themselves immensely at the deadline of the NBA trade season. They didn't go for the splashy names like Luka. They didn't go for the Jimmy Butlers. They wasn't out here trying to get the Kevin Durants of the world. They want another role-playing piece that is actually going to help them. And I think this was the trade that flew under the radar that they needed. Again, we'll go ahead and break this down a little bit more, get into the story when we come back on the other side of the content. This is your boy Big Vern. Give me a rap album. Bam, 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 bam. It's your boy Big Vern coming to you live from the App Stupid Studios. We promoting another rap album this month, Mac Miller, Balloonerism, in stores now. Get it where you legally consume music, whether it be Apple Music, Google Play, or Spotify. My personal favorites on the track is $5 Pony Rides, Friendly Hallucinations. Friendly Hallucinations is dope. That's a really good song. Excisors, and then Mannequins. Mac Miller, Balloonerism, in stores now. Yeah, shout out to Mac Miller. Rest in peace to his family. I thought the album was pretty dope. So before we took the rap album, we were on the other side of the content. We were talking about the Cavs. They got Hunter, and that's what they needed. Hunter, he's got the kind of length the Cavs covet and enough shooting to help them on the perimeter. At 6'8", with the wingspan of over 7 foot, Hunter can play either the forward position or seems to be the ideal start at that power forward or that small forward that they're going to go ahead and assign him those roles, because the Cavs, they have an undersized backcourt. So this would help them in many ways. And it's always like I've said, you're getting guys that's going to fit your system. You're not trying to blow up the makeup of a team where now we're all just standing and watching. The ball dies. Nobody's kicking the ball around the perimeter. Those are legitimate takes. Those are legitimate concerns that you have, especially with the Cavs, being that they are the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. And you want to go ahead and stay ahead of the Boston Celtics. You want to stay ahead of the New York Knicks. You don't want to concede ground trying to make trades work that was never going to work with players that don't fit in your system. So that makes a lot of sense. Because Kenny Atkinson, he likes to switch everything up on the pick and rolls. The Cavs, they can sometimes get exposed in undesirable mismatches against some of the elite teams, such as Max Struss and wrestling Kristaps Porzingis on Boston. And like I said, in the other night when they lost to Boston, when you had guys get caught up on trying to go ahead and get off double teams, and the rotation is going to, anytime you start switching and you leave a man-to-man position, when you switch, you're switching until you get a favorable matchup against a smaller guy. And If you can't contain your man or you don't have enough size to rotate off, sometimes you can actually put your team in a bad situation, like they were with the Boston Celtics. Now, Hunter, he's also a valuable defender, and he's got the wingspan to keep teams like Boston, Houston, and OKC. He's got that to keep them honest out there on the perimeter, and also in between the blocks and the elbows. So again, this is going to be one of those trades. They're not going to be talked about on ESPN. They're not going to be talked about on any of these sports podcast shows because they don't actually know the game of basketball. And it's no knock against these guys. You could be a fan of the sport all day long. You can even play basketball and not watch basketball, or have a high basketball IQ where you're just looking at things from a different angle, or 30,000 feet high if you're a biased fan. So when we talk about these things, even if you're not a fan of that basketball club, you can be like, wait a minute, that makes a lot of sense. I see why they went after this guy. I see why they gave up this, but also we give you the business component to that as well. Tell you what, give me another 20 on a rap album. We'll talk about that when we come back on the other side of the break. This is Big Vern. Drop the rap album. Now, bam, 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 bam. It's your boy Big Vern. Y'all know how we do. Promoting the new rap album, The Mussolini, True Player in the Game, in stores now. Get it where you legally consume music, whether it be Apple Music, Google Play, or Spotify. My personal favorites on the track is True Game, Her and Her. That sounds crazy. That sounds crazy. Feels Better, Fly With Me featuring Jimmy Waters, and many more. The Mussolini, True to the Game, in stores now. Yeah, shout out to the Moose. I like the Moose. I ain't hating on him. Moose do his thing. But before we took the break, we started talking about DeAndre Hunter and what he brings to the Cavs. Now, Hunter, he became available and expendable, really, after Atlanta got Jalen Johnson, his emergence as being one of the young superstar pieces down there. And then Zach Ricochet, the number one draft pick this year, and how he's actually taking more of a leadership role and trying to figure out how to play him and Trey at the same time. So that relegated Hunter to the bench. And it's no, like I said, it's not a knock on him, because once Hunter moved to the bench and he's been a role player this year, he's having one of the best seasons as a three-point shooter at 39%, which makes, like I said, which makes sense because you got a new coaching staff. You're in your second year under Snyder. Quinn Snyder. You've got to figure out where your spots are and where your shots are going to come from. And you have to have enough game and have enough dog in you where you can give a guy a breath or a break, or he trusts you in key moments to leave you out there in certain sequences and defensive assignments. Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that at all. So you see why he was on the trading block. And then you also see why the Cavs went after him. And I love this because it's the young guys. It's getting a guy who hasn't been in the NBA for decades, or you're getting a guy who hasn't been a superstar and now he's just going through the motions. You're getting good role players who have been there, who know their job. And then you're getting back to team ball. That is more important. You're getting back to team ball. You're not invested in an all-star game every night. So that is a great thing. Now, by moving Karis LeVert and Georges Niang, the Cavs have shed necessary money to get under the tax line. That was the business component we spoke of before we took the break. They're under the tax line. They will not have to be a taxpayer this year in the NBA. Instead, after the payouts from teams after the season's over, you could be looking at anywhere upwards of $12 million. And for them 12 million to that franchise or upwards of more than 12 million, that would be huge for Cleveland because it gives them ways to be responsible about their money, but it also gives them ways to reward some of those soldiers who get in there and grunt and do the grunt work in between the blocks, in the mid post, on the elbows. You want to go ahead and keep those guys developed. But I'm loving everything about this. I'm loving everything about this. Now, if you are a Cleveland Cavalier fan, like I say, get in the comments. Let me know. Is DeAndre Hunter going to be one of the best acquisitions made so far?